Let's talk about self-publishing versus traditional publishing. You're probably wondering, which one is right for you? Before you decide that, let's go over the pros and cons of each. I'll start with traditional publishing. The biggest pro to me is that the potential income ceiling is a lot higher with a trad pub book. Go look at the top 10 highest paid authors of this year, last year, every year. They are traditionally published. The authors making tens of millions of dollars on their books are tradpubbed. In addition, by and large, the authors that get their books adapted into movies and TV shows are usually traditionally published as well. If you have a trad deal, there is the chance of a breakout hit. We're talking possible meteoric success. Now, I know a lot of self-published authors that make an enviable amount of money, but none of them make 10, 20, or $30 million a year. The second pro of traditional publishing is getting your books into bookstores. Now, I realize that it's possible to get a self-published title into a national chain. But if you're traditionally published, you will have a much wider reach. There will be a print run. The publisher is going to put your books out there for you. Meanwhile, if you're self-published and you want to get into bookstores, you need to do the legwork for yourself with each and every store. That can be a lot of work. Next, another pro of being tradpubbed is that your publishing house will do a lot of the work for you. They will provide a cover. They will do the editing of your book. They will do the printing, the distribution. They will also do a lot of the marketing. For a lot of authors, that is the dream, especially authors that just want to focus on writing. There's a flip side, though, which leads me into the cons of traditional publishing. Number one, your publisher will not do everything. There are still going to expect you to market your book, to be on social media, to do interviews, appearances, signings, etc. If you get a traditionally published deal, don't expect to only write and nothing more. There will be expectations for you to market your book. Con number two, traditional publishing is slow. We're talking glacial. It doesn't matter how fast you write the books. You're probably looking at one release per year. If you're lucky, maybe they can squeeze in a second one, but most of the time, it'll only be one. That is an eternity in the current publishing landscape. There's no room to be nimble with a publishing schedule like that. Con number three, even though traditional publishing is great for the breakout stars, it can be brutal for mid-list authors. Most of the attention and money goes to the star authors. If you're mid-list, you might find yourself with middling sales. Make no mistake, a tradpub deal is not a guaranteed ticket to success. And let's be honest, there are far more mid-list tradpubbed authors trying to squeak out a living than there are superstars. Keep that in mind when you're making your decision. Now, enough about traditional publishing. Let's talk about self-publishing. I'm going to start with the cons. Number one, getting into bookstores and libraries is much harder. In a lot of cases, you're almost hand selling, one bookstore at a time, one library at a time. It can be grueling. And in a lot of cases, it isn't even worth the effort. After all, your time is valuable. The second con of self-publishing is that you're probably not going to achieve meteoric success. Like I said before, the highest paid authors every year are all tradpubbed. While there's currently a handful of millionaire indie published authors, they are rare. So, If you're looking to become a millionaire from your writing, keep that in mind. Con number 3, you have to do everything yourself. I'm talking marketing, formatting, finding an editor, finding a proofreader, writing a book description, hiring a book cover designer. Honestly, a lot of work goes into self-publishing, in addition to writing the actual books. It can be overwhelming. Now, let's talk about the pros of self-publishing. Number 1, you can be nimble. You can write and publish your books on your own schedule. You make your own deadlines. You can jump from project to project, adapt to trends, and make split-second moves that influence your career. If you see a hot genre and want to try to make some quick cash, you can jump on it. If you feel like running a price promotion, you can do that. If you want to publish 10 books a year, you can do that. You have an incredible amount of flexibility, and that is a wonderful thing. Pro number 2, you get a higher royalty on every book that you sell. In general, when you're tradpubbed, you make less than 10% on every sale. With a lot of self-publishing platforms, you can make between 35% and 70% per sale, depending on your price point. That is a huge plus, especially at a higher price point. Pro number 3, you have complete control over the trajectory of your career. You are the boss of your author business. You get to make the decisions from a creative perspective and a business perspective. That control is a big thing for a lot of authors. Self-publishing doesn't require you to get permission. You don't need an agent or a publisher. You don't have to get the approval of gatekeepers. You can just put your work out there into the world. For a lot of authors, that is a breath of fresh air. Now, let's get back to the main question of this video. Do you want to self-publish your book or pursue traditional publishing? Ultimately, the choice is yours. I can't make that decision for you. Meanwhile, I have made my own decision. I'm a proud indie. As for you, go out and do what's best for your career. I wish you luck. Now, before you go, I want to tell you about a mini guide that I'm giving out for free. It's called The Top Mistakes That Self-Publishers Make. You can get your copy by clicking on the link in the description of this video. Download your copy now. Don't miss this opportunity.